It's Rugby League's greatest day of the year. And a return engagement for St George and Brisbane. The Dragons have been in crushing form.
Long pass, Gelthorpe, short pass, Blake, he scored!
They have the ability and confidence to burn.
Turned inside by Gelthorpe, Blake goes scurrying through, oh, miraculous step!
For the Broncos, it's been 3 grand finals in 3 weeks.
Madison, out the back, a magic pass!
And they've been brilliant in every battle.
Darren Walters, straight up the middle, Alan Ringers away!
St George and Brisbane square off for the Winfield Cup. But today there are 3 premierships up for grabs, and we'll bring you the complete coverage of all 3 matches. In the President's Cup, it's the Eastern Suburbs Roosters against the Cronulla Sharks. And the reserve grade grand final sees the North Sydney Bears defending their title against the Newcastle Knights. We'll bring you all the drama and excitement from the football stadium. Plus, performing live on stage, the incredible Tina Turner. The only place to be on Rugby League Grand Final Day is right here on Wide World of Sports.
We have a picture-perfect day over the Olympic City, Sydney, all dressed up, ready to go for this one great day of the year for Rugby League at the Sydney Football Stadium. And what a couple of great days it has been, with the announcement that Sydney would get the year 2000 games, and on top of that, St George are up against Broncos in the big grand final later this afternoon, which we will be showing live right around Australia and beamed to several countries, of course, around the world. It's a beautiful day, absolutely ideal conditions. It should be a sellout crowd, somewhere between 40 and 42,000. If it gets up to 43,000, they'll be in the booth here with us. But the crowd coming in ever so casually, because as you know, these days it's all pre-sold, so there's no great rush. They're strolling casually and getting ready for 3 grand finals that they'll see here today. And right now I'd like to welcome to the microphone Paul Borton, has been and done it all before.
Yes, Kenny, it's a great day. This is the best day of the season, the best day of the year as far as I'm concerned. I've been outside mixing with the crowd already. There's people from Innisfail, Victoria, Hobart. They're all here. They all know what rugby league's all about. It's a great day in the history of the game today. Another grand final, Saints and Brisbane. We'll know the result about 4:45. I'm sticking with the Brisbane Broncos.
Yeah, I didn't think you'd change your mind on that one. Okay, let's take a look at the matches you'll be seeing today on Nine's Wide World of Sports on Grand Final Day, 1993, the President's Cup. And of course, against the Eastern Suburbs Roosters and the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks, referee Graham Annesley. That is going to be a beauty. Let's keep going on that. And we've got the reserve grade. The North Sydney Bears up against the Newcastle Knights. The referee is Bill Harrigan. And then the first grade grand final for the big year 1993. A replay of last year, St George up against the Broncos. The referee is Greg McCallum. Well, the 2 clubs involved in today's grand final have been closely managing the amount of pressure on the players during the build-up to the big match. Our own Gene Miles has been monitoring the situation in the Broncos camp, while Steve Roach has been keeping a watch on the Dragons.
Well, thanks, Kenny. Here we are at the Holiday Inn at Coogee, where the St George Dragons have been in camp since Friday. I'll just go through what the St George Dragons will be doing today. They'll be having a late breakfast, followed by a team meeting, and they're going to hop onto the bus at 12:30 to head out to the Sydney Football Stadium. I know it's a bit early, but there's been plenty of nerves built up over the last fortnight. The players, all they want to do is get onto the field and get on with the match. There's plenty of an air of confidence here at the St George camp this morning. And Gino, I've got to get over to the President's Cup to commentate. It's over to you.
Well, thanks, Block. Well, just down the road here is St George territory, but we're here at the Novotel Brighton Beach, where the players are just finishing off their breakfast. Wayne Bennett, as usual for a Sunday's preparation, has a 10:30 team meeting planned, and then at 11 o'clock the players will move out in the tennis court. Just an update on the Alan Langer case. The only thing that's dented really is Alan's pride and also his pocket after that slight accident at the races yesterday. Speaking to Wayne Bennett earlier this morning, he could not be more pleased with the players' attitude over the last 24 hours. Switched on, and he'd be very surprised if they don't perform this afternoon. Well, that's the scene here at Novotel. Kenny, you save me a seat, and I'll see you real soon.
Good on you, Gene. Well done, and also to you, Blocker. Tell me, Fatty, when you wake up on grand final morning, is it all butterflies or what?
It's a real tingle there down the spine, and It's a matter of waiting. The waiting is the worst part of it. You want to get out in the field and start tackling, running and scoring tries, whatever. And right up until 3 o'clock, they'll be very, very nervous. But once the kick-off comes, they'll be as good as gold.
OK, only two teams enjoy the honour of playing in a grand final, of course. For the contestants, the road to the Sydney Football Stadium on this one day in September is one mighty tough slog. It started way back in late summer when the temperatures ran hot and optimism was high. An off-season of hard toil and sweat. The men of league are ready for a winter like no other. The Sevens, Challenge and Winfield Cup. And for the best of the best, Tests and State of Origin.
Crunching tackle. Still going. He's into the corner. Well, there he goes in to score. He's racing 40 metres over to score. 25 out, left the boot nicely. He was crying for him to come in field. He'll go all the way and put it down.
24 teams got the ball rolling with the League Sevens, a truly international event. East were the champions, but it was the Kumuls from PMG and the South Africans who won the hearts. He's going to go all the way! He's come out of the crowd, and that's a try!
What's he doing at that post?
Next on a packed league calendar, the Challenge Cup, the first genuine test for the contenders. The final played before a sellout crowd deep in the heart of New South Wales at Dubbo. Canberra walked away with the big prize.
And Stewart, like a thief in the night, picks up a try for Canberra. Ball goes to Dooley. Dooley gets his pass away. In the end goal. Stacks on the mill, but I think it's a try.
In the Winfield Cup waiting room, 16 teams were now suited up for 22 rounds of the toughest football in the world.
Goldthorpe puts it into the end goal. Walford picks it up, and Walford scores.
By the end of April, the cream of the crop had surfaced for the most intense and emotive series of all, State of Origin.
Harrigan works in behind the play the ball. Sheridan comes a blindside again.
The chief says if you want to go, I'll go with you.
Is this the chance they've been looking for?
Go,
yes! No, Meninga! And Meninga gets the try!
Is Ratcher? Oh, Ratcher gets the pass away! Yes, sir! Rugby's on! New South Wales get first one! Oh, beautiful stuff from Ratcher!
Turns it inside for Harrigan! Harrigan! Yeah! There goes the ball from the crowd. It's all over. 30 metres to go. Will can't get him. No, the big fella's in. Did he get it down? Bobby Linder.
There was to be no let down or let up as the Warriors went back into the fray of Winfield Cup football. Norths appeared to be on fire with wins over St George, Brisbane and Canterbury. The Bears looked certainties to make the final five. Even the sceptics felt the same.
Lydiard. Oh, cut the gate. He'll run over the Harbour Bridge.
But then came the crash. Out they went, and into the five came Manly.
Underboot, kicks over the top of Ridley. Will he get there? Yes.
Along with Brisbane, Canberra, the Dragons and the Bulldogs.
Puts the kick back across to the left. There's a chance.
The first casualty, Canberra. But like on that day, they would get a second chance without Ricky Stewart.
He scores!
Sudden death, and Manly was skittled.
Here's Madison. He's on his way. Elscourt brings him down. Is it a double movement? Madison's done his shoulder into the bargain.
The Broncos, a week later, sent the Raiders packing. The defending premiers were beginning to flex their muscle from 5th spot.
Oh, he's home. Stone is chasing, but Hancock swooped on the opportunity.
St George was the first team into the grand final, beating the minor premiers Canterbury. The Dragons' six-pack were absolutely dynamic, as was their backline creativity.
Again, a good kick and a test for Scott Wilson. He never got near it. Walford gives it away. Priddle goes over. Priddle!
Brisbane finished them off 7 days later, and we had what we had last year. A Broncos-St George grand final.
That's it! Brisbane are in the grand final!
Now all that remains is one more 80-minute examination. Beautiful pictures there, and edited by a young fellow called Johnny Vaccarella. I tell you what, that rugby league takes it into an art form, doesn't it?
It's fantastic. The photography there, and it's just getting better and better all the time in rugby league. Channel 9 doing a great job, Kenny.
Well, you've seen a year encapsulated in 4 or 5 minutes there. So much has happened this year, and so much good football.
It's been a great year for rugby league. I mean, we've seen all the time, we're seeing young stars come through. Jack Elscott, what a great player. I mean, he will be on the Kangaroo Tour next year without a shadow of a doubt. He's a sensational player. And all the time, there's kids like him coming through. Who knows who's going to come through next year, Ken?
All right, we've got a terrific day coming up here at the Sydney Football Stadium for the grand final of 1993. Sydney is looking an absolute picture, and we've got all the action here on Nine's Wide World of Sports.